Today we're going to talk about everyone's favorite subject, eBay fees. So on the topic of fees, shout out to Chubby Andy 712. He is a subscriber of the channel, and he asked how I factor in eBay fees when considering my overall margin, sales velocity, etc. And I thought that was a pretty good question. I've also gotten pretty good feedback about turning off autofocus. I think I did that, but now that I'm looking, I didn't, so I'm not really sure what's up. I'm just using my iPhone, so I'm not a tech genius or even tech literate, honestly. So let's just run with this. So eBay fees. You know that when you're selling cards, eBay takes a frictional amount for using their platform. It's like a surcharge, and honestly, it's a little bit overhyped in terms of people's negativity towards it. But the word is out. eBay fees for trading cards are exactly 13.25%. Okay. So 13 and 25 hundredths to all of my math friends out there. That's your eBay fee rate. Okay, so that is the amount that you have to consider when purchasing cards. Now, in addition to that, many people choose to promote listings. So let's factor in an additional 2% for listing promotions, which, get your math brains ready here, we've got 15 and 25 hundredths percent. Okay, so 15.25 said plainly. That's what we need to consider. Okay, now when you sell an item, unfortunately, eBay fees aren't the only things that you need to consider, right? We also have this awesome thing called sales tax when appropriate. Okay, in my state, sales tax is 7%, meaning that when someone purchases an item with sales tax, and again, I'm talking about a buyer purchasing from my store, they pay sales tax. That is baked into the overall amount that they purchase for, and it's included in the fee rate. Okay, so listen to that carefully. That means that a buyer is likely paying 107%. I am getting fees on that 107%, not just the sales price amount. Okay, so you have to include that into your calculation. If nothing else, it lets you be a little bit even more conservative. And I know that there are some sales tax free states, so shout out to you guys out there. You don't really have to worry about that step, but those are the things to consider. Okay, so I'm looking at a card at a card show. It started off a no, it's turned into a yes, just like I mentioned in a couple days ago's video. Be sure to check that one out. It is a game changer for you for sourcing. You're checking out a card, and it gave you no reason to say no. It disqualified itself from being a no contender. You let the card do the talking, and you're looking at comps now. Well, you see that PSA 10s are selling for about $180. Okay, so let's do that math to make sure that it's a buy. Okay, so we have to factor in our sales tax. So let's take the $180, and we're going to multiply that by 1 7/100. That's because sales tax. Okay, so we have to get the biggest number first. Okay, so we're going to start with 180 times 1 7/100, and we get $192.60. So $192.60 is what somebody who pays sales tax will buy that card for ultimately. Now I can calculate my fees, so I need to multiply this as well. Now I'm going to get fancy on you. Okay, if we look at a 100% basis, if we subtract our 15 and 25 hundredths, that gives us 84 and 75 hundredths, or 84.75. Okay, this is the percent that you are netting on each sale. 84.75%. Now, with that said, there are other people who have an eBay store, and their seller tier level, myself included in this, gives a slightly discounted fee rate. There's some people that do so much volume that they have an adjusted fee rate per eBay. So this amount can change, but this is the baseline percent. So funny enough, I've got probably a really good rant video about this topic, but whenever I am sourcing from Facebook and I see people say, not looking to sell at a percent, it's like, brother, you're always selling at a percent. It's 84 and 75 tenths or 75 hundredths on eBay. It's 85% on CCG Player. If I could just snap my fingers and offload all my cards at 100% market price, I'd do that too, man. But it's not super realistic. So Anyway, if we move our decimal point over a couple of times, we have got to multiply this. And what you guys are probably noticing is like all of this stuff is just like what, 7th grade math, something like that. And I'm not trying to say that in like a dismissive way, but hopefully that's like encouraging for you all, because you don't actually have to be like a genius or a wizard in order to do this. And there's also ways that you can just put this in as a function on something like Google Sheets, and you can just type in the price that you are selling it for, and it will automatically tell you what you would net on that sale. So there's ways to go about that as well, but I won't dive into that too much now. So 163, and we'll say 23 cents. 163.23. That's your net after fees. Now, with that said, you have to deduct grading fees, which let's say in this situation are $45. You've also got to deduct your shipping, which is usually about $5, and then obviously cost of goods. So let's just start here with that amount, 163.23. And we'll take away, 45 plus 5 is 50 for those of you following along here. So you've got about $113.23. Okay. And then all you have to do now is subtract cost of goods. Okay. Once you subtract cost of goods, whatever money is left here is going to be your net. That is going to be your absolute takeaway. This is how much money, hopefully, you gain from selling this item, right? So the key consideration here is make sure your cost of goods is smaller than that amount. If cost of goods is smaller than that amount, it's probably a buy. If cost of goods is higher, you must put it back and walk away. That's what math says, and that's how you can be a successful buyer when considering eBay fees prior to making a purchase. Thank you all so much for watching. We crushed 700 subscribers. We're actually at like 713 at the time of me recording this. I appreciate you guys so much. Please keep it up. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.